April by Richard Le Gallienne. Read for LibriVox.org by PaulClayton. April, half clad in flowers and showers, walks like a blossom o'er the land. She smiles at May and laughing takes the rain and sunshine hand in hand. So gay the dancing of her feet, so like a garden her soft breath, so sweet the smile upon her face. She charms the very heart of death. The young moon in a trance she holds, captive in clouds of orchard bloom. She snaps her fingers at the grave, and laughs into the face of doom. Yet in her gladness lurks a fear, in all her mirth there breathes a sigh. So soon her pretty flowers are gone, and she is too young to die. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Ave Atque Vale by Algernon Charles Swinburne. Read for LibriVox.org by Arden. June 30, 2026. Ave Atque Vale. In memory of Charles Baudelaire. Nous devrons pourtant lui porter quelquefois les morts, les pauvres morts, ont de grandes douleurs. Et quand octobre souffle et monde de vous aube, son vent mélancolique alentour de leur mob. Certes, ils doivent trouver le vivant bien ingrat, le fleur du mal. Shall I strew on thee rose or rue her laurel, brother, on this that was the vale of thee? Or quiet sea flower moulded by the sea, or simplest growth of meadows sweet or sorrel, such as the summer sleepy dryads weave, waked up by snow-soft sudden rains at eve? Or wilt thou rather, as on earth before, half-faded fiery blossoms, pale with heat, and full of bitter summer, but more sweet, to thee than gleanings of a northern shore, trod by no tropic feet? For always thee the fervid languid glories, allured of heavier suns and mightier skies. Thine ears knew all the wondering watery sighs, where thee sea sobs round Lesbian promontories, the barren kiss of piteous wave to wave, that knows not where is that Leucadian grave, which hides too deep the supreme head of song. Salt and sterile as her kisses were, the wild sea winds her in, the green gulfs bare, hither and thither, and vex and work her wrong, blind gods that cannot spare. Thou sawest, in thine old singing season, brother, secrets and sorrows unbeheld of us, fierce loves and lovely leaf buds poisonous, bare to thy subtler eye, but for none other, blowing by night in some unbreathed clime, the hidden harvest of luxurious time, sin without shape and pleasure without speech, and where strange dreams in a tumultuous sleep make thee shut eyes of stricken spirits weep, and with each face thou sawest the shadow on each, seeing as men sow, men reap. O sleepless heart and somber soul unsleeping, that were athirst for sleep and no more life, and no more love for peace and no more strife, now the dim gods of death have in their keeping, spirit and body and all the springs of song. Is it well now where love can do no wrong, where stingless pleasure has no foam or fang, behind the unopening closure of her lips? Is it not well where soul from body slips, and flesh from bone divides without a pang, as dew from flower bell drips? It is enough. The end and the beginning are one thing to thee who art past the end. O hand unclasped of unbeholden friend, for thee no fruits to pluck, no palms for winning, no triumph and no labor and no lust. Only dead yew leaves and a little dust. O quiet eyes wherein the light saith not, whereto the day is dumb, nor any night with obscure finger silences your sight, nor in your speech the sudden soul speaks thought. Sleep, and have sleep for light. Now all strange hours and all strange loves are over, dreams and desires and somber songs and sweet. Hast thou found place at thee, great knees and feet, of some pale Titan woman like a lover, such as thy vision here solicited, under the shadow of her fair vast head, the deep division of prodigious breasts, the solemn slope of mighty limbs asleep, the weight of awful tresses that still keep the savor and shade of old world pine forests, where thee wet hill winds weep? Hast thou found any likeness for thy vision, O gardener of strange flowers, what bud, what bloom, hast thou found sown, what gathered in the gloom? What of despair, of rapture, of derision? What of life is there? What of ill or good? Are the fruits gray like dust or bright like blood? Does the dim ground grow any seed of ours? The faint fields quicken any terrene root? In lowlands where the sun and moon are mute, and all the stars keep silence, are there flowers at all or any fruit? Alas, but though my flying song flies after, O sweet, strange elder singer, thy more fleet singing and footprints of thy fleeter feet, some dim derision of mysterious laughter from the blind tongueless waters of the dead, some gainless glimpse of Prosperpine's veiled head, some little sound of unregarded tears, wept by effaced, unprofitable eyes, and from pale mouths some cadence of dead sighs. These only, these the hearkening spirit hears, these only such things rise. Thou art far too far for wings of words to follow, far too far off for thought or any prayer. What ails us with thee, who art wind and air? What ails us gazing where all seen is hollow? Yet with some fancy, yet with some desire, dreams pursue death as winds a flying fire. Our dreams pursue our dead and do not find. Still and more swift than they, the thin flame flies. The low light fails us in elusive skies. Still the foiled earnest ear is deaf and blind, or still the eluded eyes. Not thee, oh never thee, in all times changes. Not thee, but this the sound of thy sad soul, the shadow of thy swift spirit. This shut scroll I lay my hand on, and not death estranges my spirit from communion of thy song. These memories and these melodies that throng veiled porches of a muse funereal, these I salute, these touch, these clasp and fold, as though a hand were in my hand to hold, or through mine ears a morning musical of many mourners rolled. I among these, I also in such station, as when the pyre was charred and piled the sods, an offering to the dead maid and their gods. The old mourners had, standing to make libation, I stand, and to the gods and to the dead do reverence without prayer or praise, and shed offering to these unknown, the gods of gloom. And what of honey and spice my seedlings bear, and what I may of fruits in this chilled air, and lay, Orestes like, across the tomb, a curl of severed hair, but by no hand nor any treason stricken, not like the low-lying head of him, the king, the flame that made of Troy a ruinous thing. Thou liest, and on this dust no tears could quicken. There fall no tears like theirs that all men hear, fall tear by sweet imperishable tear, down the opening leaves of holy poets' pages. Thee not Orestes, not Electra mourns, but bending usward with memorial urns, the most high muses that fulfill all ages, weep, and our God's heart yearns. For, sparing of his sacred strength, not often, among us darkling here the Lord of Light makes manifest his music and his might, and hearts that open in and lips that soften, with the soft flame and heat of songs that shine. Thy lips indeed he touched with bitter wine, and nourished them indeed with bitter bread. Yet surely from his hand thy soul's food came. The fire that scarred thy spirit at his flame was lighted, and thine hungering heart he fed, who feeds our hearts with fame. Therefore he too, now at thy soul's sunsetting, God of all suns and songs, he too bends down to mix his laurel with thy cypress crown, and save thy dust from blame and from forgetting. Therefore he too, seeing all thou wert in art, compassionate with sad and sacred heart, mourns thee of many his children thee last dead, and hallows with strange tears and alien sighs thine unmelodious mouth and sunless eyes, and over thine irrevocable head sheds light from the under skies. And one weeps with him in the ways Lethean, and stains with tears her changing bosom chill, that obscure Venus of the hollow hill, that thing transformed which was the Cytherean, with lips that lost their Grecian laugh divine, long since, and face no more called e'er a sign. A ghost, a bitter and luxurious god, thee also with fair flesh and singing spell did she, a sad and second prey, compel, and to the footless places once more trod, and shadows hot from hell. And now no sacred staff shall break and blossom, no choral salutation lure to light a spirit sick with perfume and sweet night, and love's tired eyes and hands and barren bosom. There is no hope for these things, none to mend, and none to mar. Not all our songs, O friend, will make death clear or make life durable. Howbeit with rose and ivy and wild vine, and with wild notes about this dust of thine, at least I fill the place where white dreams dwell, and wreath an unseen shrine. Sleep, and if life was bitter to thee, pardon. If sweet, give thanks, thou hast no more to live. And to give thanks is good, and to forgive. Out of the mystic and the mournful garden, where all day through thine hands in barren braid wove these sick flowers of secrecy and shade, green buds of sorrow and sin, and remnants grey, sweet-smelling, pale with poison, sanguine-hearted, passions that sprang from sleep and thoughts that started. Shall death not bring us all as thee one day, among the days departed? For thee, O now a silent soul, my brother, take at my hands this garland and farewell. Thin as the leaf, and chill the wintry smell, and chill the solemn earth, a fatal mother, but sadder than the Niobean womb, and in the hollow of her breasts a tomb. Contently, howsoe'er, whose days are done, there lies not any troublous thing before, nor sight nor sound to war against thee more, for whom all winds are quiet as the sun, all waters as the shore. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Average Man by Margaret E. Sangster. Read for LibriVox.org by M. Lee. When it comes to a question of trusting yourself to the risks of the road, when the thing is the sharing of burdens, the lifting the heft of a load, in the hour of peril or trial, in the hour you meet as you can, you may safely depend on the wisdom and skill of the average man. 'Tis the average man, and no other, who does his plain duty each day, the small thing his wage is for doing, on the commonplace bit of the way. 'Tis the average man, may God bless him, who pilots us still in the van, over land, over sea, as we travel, just the plain, hearty, average man. So on through the days of existence, all mingling in shadow and shine, we may count on the everyday hero, whom haply the gods may divine, but who wears the swart grime of his calling, and labors and earns as he can, and stands at the last with the noblest, the commonplace average man. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
A Burning Glass by John Hall. Read for LibriVox.org by Public Domain Scholar. A Burning Glass. Strange chemistry can dust and sand produce, so pure a body and diaphanous. Strange kind of courtship that the amorous sun to embrace a mineral with his rays in one. Talk of the heavens, mocked by its fear. Alas, the sun itself's here in a piece of glass. Let magnets drag base iron, this alone can to her icy bosom win the sun. Witches may cheat us of his light a while, but this can him even of himself beguile. In heaven he staggers the both tropics. Here he keeps fixed residence all times of the year. Here's a perpetual solstice. Here he lies, not on a bed of water, but of ice. How well by this himself a bridge he might redeem the Scythians from their lingering night. Well by this glassy proxy might he roll beyond the ecliptic and warm either pole. Had but Prometheus been so wise, he had ne'er scaled heaven to light his torch, but lighted here. Had Archimedes once but known this use, he had burnt Marcellus from proud Syracuse. Had Vesta's maids of honor this but seen, their lady's fire had ne'er extinguished been. Hell's engines might have finished their design of powder, but that heaven did countermine. Had they but thought of this, the Egyptians may well hatch their eggs without the midwife clay. Why do not puling lovers this devise for a lit emblem of their mistress' eyes? They call them diamonds, and say they have been reduced by them to ashes all within. But they'll assume't, and ever hence 'twill pass. A mistress' eye is but love's burning glass. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Deserted Garden by Elizabeth Barrett Browning. Read for LibriVox.org by Phil Schempf. I mind me in the days departed, how often underneath the sun, with childish bounds I used to run to a garden long deserted. The beds and walks were vanished quite, and wheresoe'er had struck the spade, the greenest grasses nature laid to sanctify her right. I called the place my wilderness, for no one entered there but I. The sheep looked in, the grass to espy, and passed it ne'ertheless. The trees were interwoven wild, and spread their boughs enough about to keep both sheep and shepherd out, but not a happy child. Adventurous joy it was for me. I crept beneath the boughs, and found a circle smooth of mossy ground beneath a poplar tree. Old garden rose trees hedged it in, bedropped with roses waxen white, well satisfied with dew and light, and careless to be seen. Long years ago, it might befall, when all the garden flowers were trim, the grave old gardener prided him on these the most of all. Some lady, stately overmuch, here moving with a silken noise, has blushed beside them at the voice that likened her to such. Or these, to make a diadem, she often may have plucked and twined, half smiling as it came to mind that few would look at them. Oh, little thought that lady proud a child would watch her fair white rose, when buried lay her whiter brows, and silk was changed for shroud. Nor thought that gardener full of scorns for men unlearned in simple phrase, a child would bring it all its praise, bright creeping through the thorns. To me upon my low moss seat, though never a dream the roses sent, of science or love's compliment, I ween they smelt as sweet. It did not move my grief to see the trace of human step departed, because the garden was deserted, the blither place for me. Friends, blame me not. A narrow ken hath childhood 'twixt the sun and sward. We draw the moral afterward. We feel the gladness then. The gladdest hours for me did glide in silence at the rose-tree wall. A thrush made gladness musical upon the other side. Nor he nor I did e'er incline to peck or pluck the blossoms white. How should I know but that they might lead lives as glad as mine? To make my hermit home complete, I brought clear water from the spring, praised in its own low murmuring, and cresses glossy wet. And so, I thought, my likeness grew, without the melancholy tale, to gentle hermit of the dale, and Angelina too. For oft I read within my nook such minstrel stories, till the breeze made sounds poetic in the trees, and then I shut the book. If I shut this wherein I write, I hear no more the wind athwart those trees, nor feel that childish heart delighting in delight. My childhood from my life is parted, my footstep from the moss which drew its fairy circle round. Anew the garden is deserted. Another thrush may there rehearse the madrigals which sweetest are. No more for me, myself afar, do sing a sadder verse. Ah me, when erst I lay in that child's nest so greenly wrought, I laugh unto myself and thought, the time will pass away. And still I laughed, and did not fear, but that, when ere was passed away the childish time, some happier play my womanhood would cheer. I knew the time would pass away, and yet beside the rose-tree wall, dear God, how seldom, if at all, did I look up to pray. The time is past, and now that grows the cypress high among the trees, and I behold white sepulchres as well as the white rose. When wiser, meeker thoughts are given, and I have learnt to lift my face, reminded how earth's greenest place the color draws from heaven. It something saith for earthly pain, but more for heavenly promise free, that I who was would shrink to be that happy child again. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Family Financiering by Anonymous. Read for LibriVox.org by mleigh. They tell me you work for $1 a day. How is it you clothe your 6 boys on such pay? I know you will think it conceited and queer, but I do it because I'm a good financier. There's Pete, John, Jim, and Joe and William and Ned, a half-dozen boys to be clothed up and fed, and I buy for them all good plain victuals to eat, and clothing, I only buy clothing for Pete. When Pete's clothes are too small for him to go on, my wife makes 'em over and gives them to John. When for John, who is 10, they have grown out of date, she just makes 'em over for Jim, who is 8. When for Jim they become too ragged to fix, she just makes 'em over for Joe, who is 6. And when little Joseph can't wear them no more, she just makes 'em over for Bill, who is 4. And when for young Bill they no longer will do, she just makes 'em over for Ned, who is 2. So you see, if I get enough clothing for Pete, the family is furnished with clothing complete. But when Ned gets through with the clothing, and when he has thrown it aside, what do you do with it then? Why, once more we go around the circle complete, and begin to use it for patches for Pete. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
A Forest Hymn by William Cullen Bryant. Read for LibriVox.org by Phil Schempf. The groves were God's first temples, ere man learned to hew the shaft, and lay the architrave, and spread the roof above them, ere he framed the lofty vault, to gather and roll back the sound of anthems, in the darkling wood, amidst the cool and silence. He knelt down and offered to the mightiest solemn thanks and supplication, for his simple heart might not resist the sacred influences which from the stilly twilight of the place, and from the grey old trunks that high in heaven mingled their mossy boughs, and from the sound of the invisible breath that swayed at once all their green tops, stole over him, and bowed his spirit with the thought of boundless power and inaccessible majesty. Ah, why should we, in the world's riper years, neglect God's ancient sanctuaries, and adore only among the crowd, and under roofs that our frail hands have raised? Let me at least, here in the shadow of this aged wood, offer one hymn, thrice happy if it find acceptance in his ear. Father, thy hand hath reared these venerable columns. Thou didst weave this verdant roof. Thou didst look down upon the naked earth, and forthwith rose all these fair ranks of trees. They, in thy sun, budded, and shook their green leaves in thy breeze, and shot towards heaven. The century-living crow, whose birth was in their tops, grew old and died among their branches, till at last they stood as now they stand, massy and tall and dark, fit shrine for humble worshipper to hold communion with his Maker. These dim vaults, these winding aisles, of human pomp or pride report not. No fantastic carvings show the boast of our vain race to change the form of thy fair works. But thou art here, thou fillest the solitude, thou art in the soft winds that run along the summit of these trees in music. Thou art in the cooler breath that from the inmost darkness of the place comes, scarcely felt. The barky trunks, the ground, the fresh moist ground, are all instinct with thee. Here is continual worship. Nature, here in the tranquillity that thou dost love, enjoys thy presence. Noiselessly around, from perch to perch, the solitary bird passes, and yon clear spring, that midst its herbs wells softly forth and visits the strong roots of half the mighty forest, tells no tale of all the good it does. Thou hast not left thyself without a witness, in these shades, of thy perfections. Grandeur, strength, and grace are here to speak of thee. This mighty oak, by whose immovable stem I stand, and seem almost annihilated, not a prince, in all that proud old world beyond the deep, e'er wore his crown as loftily as he wears the green coronal of leaves with which thy hand has graced him. Nestled at his root is beauty, such as blooms not in the glare of the broad sun, that delicate forest flower with scented breath, and looks so like a smile, seems, as it issues from the shapeless mold, an emanation of the indwelling life, a visible token of the upholding love, that are the soul of this wide universe. My heart is awed within me when I think of the great miracle that still goes on, in silence round me, the perpetual work of thy creation, finished yet renewed forever. Written on thy works I read the lesson of thine own eternity. Lo, all grow old and die, but see again how on the faltering footsteps of decay youth presses, ever gay and beautiful youth in all its beautiful forms. These lofty trees wave not less proudly than their ancestors mouldered beneath them. Oh, there is not lost one of earth's charms upon her bosom yet, after the flight of untold centuries. The freshness of her far beginning lies, and yet shall lie. Life mocks the idle hate of his arch-enemy Death, yea, seats himself upon the tyrant's throne, the sepulchre, and of the triumphs of his ghastly foe makes his own nourishment. For he came forth from thine own bosom, and shall have no end. There have been holy men who hid themselves deep in the woody wilderness, and gave their lives to thought and prayer, till they outlived the generation born with them, nor seemed less aged than the hoary trees and rocks around them. And there have been holy men who deemed it were not well to pass life thus. But let me often to these solitudes retire, and in thy presence reassure my feeble virtue. Here its enemies, the passions, at thy plainer footstep shrink and tremble and are still. O God, when thou dost scare the world with tempests, set on fire the heavens with falling thunderbolts, or fill, with all the waters of the firmament, the swift dark whirlwind that uproots the woods and drowns the villages, when, at thy call, uprises the great deep, and throws himself upon the continent, and overwhelms its cities, who forgets not, at the sight of these tremendous tokens of thy power, his pride, and lays his strifes and follies by. Oh, from these sterner aspects of thy face spare me and mine, nor let us need the wrath of the mad unchained elements to teach who rules them. Be it ours to meditate in these calm shades thy milder majesty, and to the beautiful order of thy works learn to conform the order of our lives. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
God's World by Edna St. Vincent Millay. Read for LibriVox.org by PaulClayton. O world, I cannot hold thee close enough. Thy winds, thy wide grey skies, thy mists that roll and rise, thy woods this autumn day that ache and sag, and all but cry with colour, that gaunt crag, to crush, to lift the lean of that black bluff. World, world, I cannot get thee close enough. Long have I known a glory in it all, but never knew I this. Here such a passion is, as stretcheth me apart. Lord, I do fear thou'st made the world too beautiful this year. My soul is all but out of me. Let fall no burning leaf, prithee let no bird call. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Growing Old by Matthew Arnold. Read for LibriVox.org by Ike Sherr. What is it to grow old? Is it to lose the glory of the form, the lustre of the eye? Is it for beauty to forego her wealth? Yes, but not this alone. Is it to feel our strength not our bloom only, but our strength decay? Is it to feel each limb grow stiffer, every function less exact, each nerve more loosely strung? Yes, this and more. But not, 'tis not what in youth we dreamed 'twould be. 'Tis not to have our life mellowed and softened as with sunset glow or golden day's decline. 'Tis not to see the world as from a height with rapt prophetic eyes and heart profoundly stirred, and weep and feel the fullness of the past, the years that are no more. It is to spend long days and not once feel that we were ever young. It is to add immured in the hot prison of the present, month to month with weary pain. It is to suffer this, and feel but half and feebly what we feel. Deep in our hidden heart festers the dull remembrance of a change, but no emotion. None. It is, last stage of all, when we are frozen up within, and quite the phantom of ourselves to hear the world applaud the hollow ghost which blamed the living man. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Growing Old by Ella Wheeler Wilcox. Read for LibriVox.org by Theo Douglas. Seattle, Washington, June 2026. Little by little, the year grows old. The red leaves drop from the maple boughs. The sun grows dim, and the winds blow cold, down from the distant Arctic seas. Out of the skies, the soft light dies, and the shadows of autumn come creeping over, and the bee and the bird are no longer heard in grove or meadow or field of clover. Little by little, our lives grow old. Our faces no longer are fair to see, for gray creeps into the curls of gold, and the red fades out of the cheeks, ah me. And the birds that sang till our heartstrings rang with strains of hope and joy and pleasure have flown away, and our hearts today hear only the weird wind's solemn measure. Youth and summer and beauty and bloom droop and die in the autumn weather, but up from the gloom of the winter's tomb they shall rise in God's good time together. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Impression by Edmund Goss. Read for LibriVox.org by Sherr. In these restrained and careful times, our knowledge petrifies our rhymes. Ah, for that reckless fire men had when it was witty to be mad. When wild conceits were piled in scores and lit by flaming metaphors, when all was crazed and out of tune, yet throbbed with music of the moon. If we could dare to write as ill as some whose voices haunt us still, even we perchance might call our own the deep enchanting undertone. We are too diffident and nice, too learned and too overwise, too much afraid of faults to be the flutes of bold sincerity. For as this sweet life passes by, we blink and nod with critical eye. We've no words rude enough to give its charm so frank and fugitive. The green and scarlet of the park, The undulating streets dark, the brown smoke across the blue, this coloured city we walked through. The pallid faces, full of pain, the field smell of the passing wain, the laughter, longing, perfume, strife, the daily spectacle of life. Ah, how shall this be given to rhyme by rhymesters of a knowing time? Ah, for the age when verse was clad, being godlike, to be bad and mad. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
In Galilee, Sweet Galilee, by Cyrus Elder. Read for LibriVox.org by Larry Wilson. There was a child in Galilee, sweet Galilee, a little child of low degree, who had no wealth on land or sea. And yet how richly blessed was he, in Galilee, sweet Galilee. For when one said, "Come unto me," in Galilee, sweet Galilee, he came, this child of low degree, and Jesus, smiling tenderly, took the dear babe upon his knee, in Galilee, sweet Galilee. Alas, our Lord we did not see, in Galilee, sweet Galilee. But yet, if childlike we could be, such joy there is for you and me, as blessed the babe of Galilee, in Galilee, sweet Galilee. End the poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Interior, the Suburbs, by Horace Gregory. Read for LibriVox.org by Winston, Tharp. There is no rest for the mind in a small house. It moves, looking for God with a mysterious eye fixed on the bed, into a cracked egg at breakfast, looking for glory in an armchair, or simply noting the facts of life in a fly asleep upon the ceiling. The mind, sunk in quiet places, like old heroes, sleeps no more, but walks abroad in a slouch hat, performing adultery at violent street corners. Then, trembling, returns, sadly directs its mysterious eye into a coffee cup. There is no rest, for there are many miles to walk in the small house, traveling past the same chairs, the same tables, the same glassy portraits on the walls, flowing into darkness. There is no victory in the mind, but desperate valor shattering the four walls, disintegrating human love, until an iron-lidded mysterious eye, lowered carefully with a frail body under churchyard gardens, stares upward, luminous, inevitable, piercing solar magnitudes on a fine morning. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Just Think by Robert W. Service. Read for LibriVox.org by Bruce Kachuk. Just think, some night the stars will gleam upon a cold grey stone, and trace a name with silver beam, and lo, 'twill be your own. That night is speeding on to greet your epitaphic rhyme. Your life is but a little beat within the heart of time. A little gain, a little pain, a laugh lest you may moan. A little blame, a little fame, a star gleam on a stone. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. The Land of Beyond by Robert W. Service. Read for LibriVox.org by Bruce Kachuk. Have ever you heard of the land of beyond, that dreams at the gates of the day. Alluring it lies at the skirts of the skies, and ever so far away. Alluring it calls, O ye the yoke galls, and ye of the trail overfond. With saddle and pack, by paddle and track, let's go to the land of beyond. Have ever you stood where the silences brood, and vast the horizons begin? At the dawn of the day to behold far away the goal you would strive for and win. Yet in the night when you gain to the height with the vast pool of heaven star-spawned, afar and a gleam like a valley of dream still mocks you a land of beyond. Thank God there is always a land of beyond for us who are true to the trail. A vision to seek, a beckoning peak, a farness that never will fail. A pride in our soul that mocks at a goal, a manhood that irks at a bond. And try how we will, unattainable still, behold it, our land of beyond. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Les Bleu by Mary Elizabeth Coleridge. Read for LibriVox.org by Winston, Tharp. The lake lay blue below the hill. O'er it, as I looked, there flew across the waters cold and still a bird whose wings were palest blue. The sky above was blue at last, the sky beneath me blue and blue. A moment ere the bird had passed, it caught its image as he flew. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Lovesick Scarecrow by Oliver Herford. Read for LibriVox.org by Kevin D. in 2026, Calgary, Alberta, Canada. The Lovesick Scarecrow. A scarecrow in a field of corn, a thing of tatters, all forlorn, once felt the influence of spring, and fell in love, a foolish thing, and most particularly so in his case, for he loved a crow. Alack-a-day, it's wrong, I know. It's wrong for me to love a crow. An all-wise man created me to scare the crows away, cried he. And though the music of her caw thrills through and through this heart of straw, my passion I must put away, and do my duty, come what may. Yet, oh, the cruelty of fate, I fear she doth reciprocate, my love, for oft at dusk I hear her in my cornfield hovering near. And once I dreamt, oh vision blessed, that she alighted on my breast. 'Tis very, very hard, I know, but all-wise man decreed it so. He cried and flung his arm in air, the very picture of despair. Poor scarecrow, if he could but know, even now his lady-love, the crow, sits in a branch just out of sight, with her good husband waiting night, to pluck from out his sleeping breast his heart of straw to line her nest. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Loving Bands by Cyrus Elder. Read for LibriVox.org by Larry Wilson. With love and pity all aflame, the story of the cross I heard, and straight a pilgrim I became, through all the world to seek my Lord, to bind for him with loving bands his wounded feet and bleeding hands. I found him not on land or sea, not in Jerusalem or Rome, and wrinkled age had come to me, when worn and sad I sought my home. I had not bound with loving bands his wounded feet and bleeding hands. Then in a quiet hour I heard, plain as a whisper in the ear, I am thy ever-present Lord. Why seek for me? Lo, I am here. Who doth what my word commands, hath kissed my feet and touched my hands, who giveth to the starving bread, who stays the steps of wayward youth, who raises up the sorrowing head, and best of all, who spreads the truth. He binds for me with loving bands my wounded feet and bleeding hands. In the poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Man Forbid by John Davidson. Read for LibriVox.org by Arden. June 17, 2026. The Man Forbid. Mankind has cast me out, when I became so close a comrade of the day and night, on earth and of the seasons of the year, and so submissive in my love of life, and study of the world that I unknew, the past and names renowned, religion, art, inventions, thoughts, and deeds, as men unknow, what good and evil fate befell their souls, before their bodies gave them residence. How the old letter haunts the spirit still, as if the soul were other than the sum the body's powers make up, a golden coin, amount of so much silver, so much bronze. I said, rejoicing, now I stand erect, and am that which I am. Compassionate, I watched a motley crowd beside me bent, beneath unsteady burdens, toppling loads of volumes, noose and lore antique that showered about their ears to be re-edified, on aching heads and shoulders overtasked. Yet were these hodmen cheerful, ignorant of woe whose character it is to seem predestined and an honorable care. They read their books, reread and read again. They balanced libraries upon their poles, and tottered through the valley almost prone. But certain they were nobler than the beasts. I saw besides in fields and cities hordes of haggard people soaked in filth and slime, wherewith they fed the jaded earth the while. Their souls of ordure stank, automata, that served machines whose tyrannous revolt enthralled their lords, as if the mistletoe, displaying mournful gold and wintry pearls, on sufferance, should enchant the forest oak, to be its accident and parasite. Wretches and monsters that were capable of joy and sorrow once, their bodies numbed, their souls deflowered, their reason disendowed, by noisome trades or at the furnaces, and drains and quarries and the sunless mines, and myriads upon myriads, human still, without redemption drudging till they died. Aware how multitudes of those enslaved no respite sought, but squandered leisure hours among the crowd whose choice or task it was to balance libraries upon their poles, I laughed a long low laugh with weeping strung, a rosary of tears to see mankind so dauntless and so dull, and cried at last, good people, honest people, cast them off and stand erect, for few are helped by books. What? Will you die crushed under libraries? Lo, 30 centuries of literature have curved your spines and overborne your brains. Off with it, all of it. Stand up, behold the earth, life, death, and day and night. Think not the things that have been said of these, but watch them and be excellent, for men are what they contemplate. They mocked me, yah! The fox who lost his tail. Though you are crazed, we have our wits about us. Nay, I cried, there was besides an ape who lost his tail, that he might change to man. Undo the past. The rainbow reaches Asgard now no more. Olympus stands untenanted. The dead have their serene abode in earth itself, our womb, our nurture, and our sepulchre. Expel the sweet imaginings profound Humanities and golden legends, forms, heroic beauties, tripping shades, embalmed, through hallowed ages in the fragrant hearts and generous blood of men, the climbing thoughts, whose roots ethereal grope among the stars, whose passion flowers perfume eternity, weed out and tear, scatter and tread them down, dismantle and dilapidate high heaven. It has been said, ye must be born again. I say to you, men must be that they are. Philosophy, the juggling dupe who finds astounding meanings in the universe, commodiously secreted by himself, religion that appoints the soul of flight, imperial, hoods its vision then and plucks, its plumes, its arching pinions tethers down, to flap about a lay-stall, art sublime, the ancient harlot of the ages, she, whose wig of golden tinct, enameled face, and cushioned bosom rivet glowing looks, whose scented flatulence diviner seems than dulcet breath of girls who keep their trysts, and hawthorn breaks devoutly when the sap bestirs the troubled forest and the winds, solace the moonlit earth with whispered news. Religion, art, philosophy, this God, this beauty, this idea men have filled the world with, study still, and still adore, are only segments of the Spirit's tale we must outgrow if Spirit would ascend. Let Spirit be the word for body and soul. Will language ne'er be fused and forged anew, and quit the withering life of fear and shame, of agony and pitiful desire, to reign untailed in heaven hereafter? Laugh, the changing image seizes you, or thus, this beauty, this divinity, this thought, this hallowed bower and harvest of delight, whose roots ethereal seemed to clutch the stars, whose amaranths perfumed eternity, is fixed in earthly soil enriched with bones of used-up workers, fattened with the blood of prostitutes, the prime manure, and dressed with brains of madmen and the broken hearts of children. Understand it, you at least, who toil all day and writhe and groan all night, with roots of luxury, a cancer struck, in every muscle, out of you it is, cathedrals rise and heaven blossoms fair. You are the hidden putrefying source of beauty and delight, of leisured hours, of passionate loves and high imaginings. You are the dung that keeps the roses sweet. I say, uproot it, plough the land, and let a summer fallow sweeten all the world. With mud bespattered, bruised with staves and stoned, you called us dung, me from their midst they drove. Alone I went in darkness and in light, color and sound attending on my steps. In life and death, the ministers of men, my constant company. But in my heart, of hearts I longed for human neighborhood, and bent my pride to win men back again. I came, a penitent, and on my knees I climbed their stairs. I thundered at their doors, and cried, I am your brother, in your wrath, as brethren should, destroy me. At your hands I must have life or death. I cannot bear the outcast's fate. They bade me then proclaim, how seemed the world now in my penitence. But when I rose to speak, their palaces, their brothels, slums, cathedrals, theaters, asylums, factories, exchanges, banks, the patched-up world of heirlooms, hand-me-downs, that worm and moth dispute of make-believe, of shoddy pinchback sweepings of the street, of war disguised, of unconcealed chicane, of shriveled drudge and swollen parvenu, turned at my glance into that murky veil, where patient hodmen on their rounded backs sustain the thought of 30 centuries, where multitudes of slaves renounce their rest to balance libraries upon their poles, or to that giant oaf, for vision shifts the world about like winds that shape the clouds, whose spiritual tale, most awkward now, that breeches hide the rump, is cherished still, with Ursine piety, or to that bower of heaven's delight whose barbed and cancerous roots are struck in earthly soil enriched with blood of men and women. As I saw, I said, how could I else? And bade them, as before, arise, uproot the pleasance, plough the land, and let the world lie fallow. Only then can any seed of change have room to grow. They yelled upon me and their missiles flew, but one arose to represent the world, and at his nod their clamor ceased. He said, there is no harbor here for such as you. You know not what you say, nor understand how you have hurt yourself. You cannot, fool, and answer it as befits, contrive to make a monkey human by caudatomy. Nor can humanity transcend itself by shearing off its spirit at the root. That of the tale is false analogy. Man springs from out the past. His taproots pierce the strata of the ages, drawing strength from every generation, every cult. The scission of the smallest rootlet harms his growth. Then turning he adjured the crowd, be warned or be accursed. This monster steps beyond the scope and furthest bound of man. Mere mirror is his brain, his heart mere husk. A waft of death comes from him. Would you live, indifferent to your own delight, unmoved by kindred sorrow, and oblivious of all your fathers did, then give him ear, and quit forever the resourceful past. I know you will not. What? Some pause to think? Resort now to the knife, and you will find 'tis not an unbecoming, useless tale. You sever manfully to be yourselves, but suicide of soul that you commit. To me, you ask for life or death from us, because you cannot bear the outcast's fate. We disregard your claim. What you can bear is no concern of ours. We cast you out. Your well-earned portion of the universe is isolation and eternal death. Cut off and alien, here you have no home. No face shall ever gladden at your step. No woman long to see you. Get you hence, and seek the desert, or since your soul is dead, return your body to the earth at once, and let resolved oblivion triumph now. Gladly the world approved with hand and voice, and a woman, offered me a knife. And let resolved oblivion triumph now, she echoed. Had it been my will to die, I should not then have made the sacrifice at the world's bidding, but I chose to live, for while I live the victory is mine. So I went forth for evermore forbid the company of men, the universe, systems and suns, and all that breathes and is, appeared at first in that dread solitude, only the momentary, insolent eruption of a glittering fantasy into the silent, empty infinite. But eyes and ears were given to me again. With these a man may do, with these endure. I haunt the hills that overlook the sea. Here in the winter like a meshwork shroud, the sifted snow reveals the perished land, and powders wisps of knot grass dank and dead, that trail like faded locks on moldering skulls, unearthed from shallow burial. With the spring, the west wind thunders through the budding hedge that stems the furrowed steep, a sound of drums, of gongs and muted cymbals, yellow breasts, and brown wings whirl in gusts, fly chaffering, drop, and surge in gusts again. In wooded combes, the hyacinth with purple diapers, the russet beech mast, and the cowslips hoard their virgin gold in lucent chalices. The somber firs, all suddenly attired in rich brocade, the enterprise in chief and pageant of the season overrides the rolling land and girds the bosomed plain, that strips her green robe to a saffron shore, and steps into the surf where threads and scales, and arabesques of blue and emerald wave, begin to Damascene the iron sea, while faint from upland fold and covert peal, the sheep bell and the cuckoo's mellow chime. Then when the sovereign light from which we came, of earth enamored bends most questioning looks, I watch the land grow beautiful, a bride, transfigured with desire of her great lord. Betrothal music of the tireless larks, heaven high, heaven wide possesses all the air, and wreaths the shining lattice of the light, with chaplets, purple clusters, vintages, of sound from thee first fragrant breath and first, tear-sprinkled blush of summer to the deep, transmuted fire, the smoldering golden moons, the wine-stained dusk of autumn harvest ripe. And I behold the period of time, when memory shall devolve and knowledge lapse, wanting a subject, and the willing earth leap to the bosom of the sun to be, pure flame once more in a new time begun. Peer, as I pace the pallid doleful hills, and serpentine declivities that creep, unhonored to the ocean's shifting verge, or where with prouder curve and greener sward, surmounting peacefully the restless tides, the cliffed escarpment ends in storm-clad strength. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Meditations of the Emperor Marcus Aurelius Antoninus. Read for LibriVox.org by Roger Smith. The Meditations, Book 1, verses 1 through 4. I learned from my grandfather verses to use good manners and to put restraint on anger. In the famous memory of my father, I had a pattern of modesty and manliness. Of my mother, I learned to be pious and generous, to keep myself not only from evil deeds, but even from evil thoughts, and to live with a simplicity which is far from customary among the rich. I owe it to my great-grandfather that I did not attend public lectures and discussions, but had good and able teachers at home. And I owe him also the knowledge that for things of this nature a man should count no expense too great. End of recording. This recording is in the public domain. The Meditations of the Emperor Marcus Aurelius Antoninus. Read for LibriVox.org by Roger Smith. The Meditations, Book 1, verse 5. My tutor taught me not to favor either green or blue at the chariot races, nor in the contest of gladiators to be a supporter either of light or heavy armed. He taught me also to endure labor, not to need many things, to serve myself without troubling others, not to intermeddle in the affairs of others, and not easily to listen to slander against them. End of recording. This recording is in the public domain. The Meditations of the Emperor Marcus Aurelius Antoninus. Read for LibriVox.org by Roger Smith. The Meditations, Book 1, verse 8. From Apollonius, I learned true liberty and tenacity of purpose, to regard nothing else, even in the smallest degree, but reason always, and always to remain unaltered in the agonies of pain and the losses of children or in long diseases. He afforded me a living example of how the same man can, upon occasion, be most yielding and most inflexible. He was patient in exposition, and, as might well be seen, esteemed his fine skill and ability in teaching others the principles of philosophy as the least of his endowments. It was from him that I learned how to receive from friends what are thought favors without seeming humbled by the giver or insensible to the gift. End of recording. This recording is in the public domain.
My Thing is My Own. Read for LibriVox.org by Andrea Atwood. I, a tender young maid, have been courted by many, of all sorts and trades as ever was any. A spruce haberdasher first spake me fair, but I would have nothing to do with small ware. My thing is my own, and I'll keep it so still, yet other young lasses may do what they will. A sweet-scented courtier did give me a kiss, and promised me mountains if I would be his. But I'll not believe him, for it is too true, some courtiers do promise much more than they do. My thing is my own, and I'll keep it so still, yet other young lasses may do what they will. A fine man of law did come out of the Strand, to plead his own cause with his fee in his hand. He made a brave motion, but that would not do, for I did dismiss him, and none suit him too. My thing is my own, and I'll keep it so still, yet other young lasses may do what they will. Next came a young fellow, a notable spark, with green bag and inkhorn, a justice's clerk. He pulled out his warrant to make all appear, but I sent him away with a flea in his ear. My thing is my own, and I'll keep it so still, yet other young lasses may do what they will. A master of music came with an intent to give me a lesson on my instrument. I thanked him for nothing, but bid him be gone, for my little fiddle should not be played on. My thing is my own, and I'll keep it so still, yet other young lasses may do what they will. A usurer came with abundance of cash, but I had no mind to come under his lash. He proffered me jewels and great store of gold, but I would not mortgage my little freehold. My thing is my own, and I'll keep it so still, yet other young lasses may do what they will. A blunt lieutenant surprised my placket, and fiercely began to rifle and sack it. I mustered my spirits up and became bold, and forced my lieutenant to quit his strong hold. My thing is my own, and I'll keep it so still, yet other young lasses may do what they will. A crafty young bumpkin that was very rich, and used with his bargains to go through stitch, did tender a sum, but it would not avail that I should admit him my tenant in tail. My thing is my own, and I'll keep it so still, yet other young lasses may do what they will. A fine dapper tailor, with a yard in his hand, did proffer his service to be at command. He talked of a slit I had above knee, but I'll have no tailors to stitch it for me. My thing is my own, and I'll keep it so still, yet other young lasses may do what they will. A gentleman that did talk much of his grounds, his horses, his setting dogs, and his greyhounds, put in for a course, and used all his art, but he missed of the sport, for puss would not start. My thing is my own, and I'll keep it so still, yet other young lasses may do what they will. A pretty young squire new come to the town, to empty his pockets, and so to go down, did proffer a kindness, but I would have none, the same that he used to his mother's maid Joan. My thing is my own, and I'll keep it so still, yet other young lasses may do what they will. Now here I could reckon 100 and more, besides all the gamesters recited before, that made their addresses in hopes of a snap, but as young as I was, I understood trap. My thing is my own, and I'll keep it so still, until I be married, say men what they will. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
O Ignis Spiritus Paracliti by Hildegard of Bingen, translated by T.G. Crippen, Read for LibriVox.org by Newgatenovelist. O Comforter, thou uncreated fire, who dost each living thing with life inspire! Holy art thou, to quicken all the creatures thou hast made. Holy art thou, to sorely broken hearts affording aid. Holy art thou, to cleanse the wounds of souls by sin betrayed. O breath of holiness, O fire of love, sweet savour in our breasts, who there dost move, infusing virtue's fragrant odours from above. O purest fount, reflected in whose streams we see, enlightened by truth's radiant beams, how God brings in the aliens, and the lost redeems. Armour of life, and hope of unity, cheering each member in distress, thou cornerstone of righteousness, oh, save the blessed souls that wait on thee, and rescue those who in a living grave are prisoned by the ancient foe. Unloose their bonds, and let them go, for godly might is thine, and will to save. O thou sure way, who, passing up the steep of heaven, o'er earth and through the lowest deep, combinest each with each, and dost in union keep. By thee are clouds upborne, the breezes blow, the rocks drink moisture, and the waters flow in streams, and smiling earth with verdure is aglow. And thou dost teach the wise yet more and more, making them glad with thy celestial lore. Therefore to thee be praise, who art the music of all praise, the joy of life, and hope, and glory passing mortal gaze, giver of light that shines above through everlasting days. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Ignis Spiritus Paracliti by Hildegard of Bingen. Translated by Richard F. Littledale. Read for LibriVox.org by Newgatenovelist. O fire of the Comforter, O life of all that live, holy art thou to quicken us, and holy strength to give, to heal the broken-hearted ones, their sorest wounds to bind. O Spirit of all holiness, O lover of mankind, O sweetest taste within the breast, O grace upon us poured, that saintly hearts may give again their perfume to the Lord. O purest fountain, we can see, clear mirrored in thy streams, that God brings home the wanderers, that God the lost redeems. O breastplate strong to guard our life, O bond of unity, O dwelling place of righteousness, save all who trust in thee. Defend those who in dungeon dark are prisoned by the foe, and, for thy will is to save, let thou the captives go. O surest way, that through the height, and through the lowest deep, and through the earth dost pass, and all in firmest union keep. From thee the clouds and ether move, from thee the moisture flows, from thee the waters draw their rills, and earth with verdure glows. And thou dost ever teach the wise, and freely on them pour the inspiration of thy gifts, the gladness of thy lore. All praise to thee, O joy of life, O hope and strength, we raise, who givest us the prize of light, who art thyself all praise. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
One of Us Too by Ella Wheeler Wilcox. Read for LibriVox.org by Theo Douglas. Seattle, Washington, June 2026. The day will dawn when one of us shall hearken in vain to hear a voice that has grown dumb, and morns will fade, noons pale, and shadows darken, while sad eyes watch for feet that never come. One of us too must sometime face existence, alone with memories that but sharpen pain, and these sweet days shall shine back in the distance, like dreams of summer dawns in nights of rain. One of us too, with tortured heart half broken, shall read long treasured letters through salt tears, shall kiss with anguished lips each cherished token that speaks of these loved crowned delicious years. One of us too shall find all light, all beauty, all joy on earth, a tale forever done, shall know henceforth that life means only duty. O God, have pity on that one. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Our Village by a Villager by Thomas Hood. Read for LibriVox.org by E.H. Blackmore. Our village, that's to say not Miss Mitford's village, but our village of Bullock Smithy, is come into by an avenue of trees, 3 oak pollards, 2 elders, and a withy. And in the middle there's a green of about not exceeding an acre and a half. It's common to all, and fed off by 19 cows, 6 ponies, 3 horses, 5 asses, 2 foals, 7 pigs, and a calf. Besides a pond in the middle, as is held by a similar sort of common law lease, and contains 20 ducks, 6 drakes, 3 ganders, 2 dead dogs, 4 drowned kittens, and 12 geese. Of course the green's cropped very close, and does famous for bowling when the little village boys play at cricket, only some horse or pig or cow or great jackass is sure to come and stand right before the wicket. There's 55 private houses, let alone barns and workshops and pigsties and poultry huts and such like sheds, with plenty of public houses, 2 foxes, 1 green man, 3 bunch of grapes, 1 crown, and 6 king's heads. The green man is reckoned the best, as the only one that for love or money can raise a postilion, a blue jacket, 2 deplorable lame white horses, and a ramshackled neat post chaise. There's 1 parish church for all the people, whatsoever may be their ranks in life or their degrees, except 1 very damp, small, dark, freezing cold little Methodist chapel of ease. And close by the churchyard there's a stonemason's yard, that when the time is seasonable will furnish with affliction saw and marble urns and cherubims very low and reasonable. There's a cage, comfortable enough, I've been in it, with old Jack Jeffrey and Tom Pike, for the green man next door will send you in ale, gin, or anything else you like. I can't speak of the stocks, as nothing remains of them but the upright post, but the pound is kept in repairs for the sake of Cobb's horse, as is always there almost. There's a smithy, of course, where that queer sort of a chap in his way, old Joe Bradley, perpetually hammers and stammers, for he stutters and shoes horses very badly. There's a shop of all sorts that sells everything, kept by the widow of Mr. Task, but when you go there it's 10 to 1 she's out of everything you ask. You'll know her house by the swarm of boys like flies about the old sugary cask. There are 6 empty houses, and not so well papered inside as out, for bill stickers won't beware, but sticks notices of sales and election placards all about. That's the doctor's with a green door, where the garden pots in the windows is seen, a weekly, monthly rose that don't blow, and a dead geranium, and a tea plant with 5 black leaves and 1 green. As for hollyoaks at the cottage doors, and honeysuckles and jasmines, you may go and whistle. But the tailor's front garden grows 2 cabbages, a dock, a ha'porth of pennyroyal, 2 dandelions, and a thistle. There are 3 small orchards, Mr. Busby's the schoolmaster's is the chief, with 2 pear trees that don't bear, 1 plum and an apple that every year is stripped by a thief. There's another small day school, too, kept by the respectable Mrs. Gaby, a select establishment for 6 little boys and 1 big, and 4 little girls and a baby. There's a rectory with pointed gables and strange odd chimneys that never smokes, for the rector don't live on his living like other Christian sort of folks. There's a barber's, once a week, well filled with rough black-bearded, shock-headed churls, and a window with 2 feminine men's heads and 2 masculine ladies in false curls. There's a butcher's, and a carpenter's, and a plumber's, and a small greengrocer's, and a baker, but he won't bake on a Sunday, and there's a sexton that's a coal merchant besides, and an undertaker. And a toy shop, but not a whole one, for a village can't compare with the London shops. One window sells drums, dolls, kites, carts, bats, clouts, balls, and the other sells malt and hops. And Mrs. Brown, in domestic economy not to be a bit behind her betters, lets her house to a milliner, a watchmaker, a rat catcher, a cobbler, lives in it herself, and it's the post office for letters. Now I've gone through all the village, from end to end, save and except one more house, but I haven't come to that, and I hope I never shall, and that's the village poorhouse. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
A Prayer by Alfred Noyes, read for LibriVox.org by Winston Tharp. Angels, where you soar up to God's own light, take my own lost bird on your hearts tonight. And as grief once more mounts to heaven and sings, let my love be heard whispering in your wings. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
A Republican Princess by George Barlow. Read for LibriVox.org by Arden. June 17, 2026. A Republican Princess, or The Death of Mesant Zoff. Oh, am I not as white and soft and sweet as any blood royal princess of them all? Yea, whiter, softer, sweeter, in that I hold fragrant now within my woman's flesh, the flowers of all the years that are to be, in that the fair Republic's future bliss shines now within me, in that every rose, each lily of the future, in my lips, or on my hands is snow white or is red. This very measureless and soft desire, wherewith I cleave to thee, O love, tonight, is but the immeasurable and vital flame that burns deep in the deep Republic's heart. I am the white Republic, and I give, in woman's burning yielding snow-white flesh, the splendor of its future unto thee. It is incarnate in my body and soul, the body and fervent soul wherewith I clasp thy body and thy lustrous spirit tonight. O kiss me, thee Republic, cling to me, the tender pure Republic lying here, naked and limitless beneath thy gaze, because in me the agony and the tears of all who yet have suffered for the sake of freedom and of love are gathered up, because in my one spirit I can include the sorrow of the past and every pang of patriots stricken upon the battlefield, or patriot women stricken as deep at home. God grants me as reward the power to give to thee the sweet Republic's soul tonight. O lover, take it, take me, taking me, take thee Republic warm within thy arms. Lo, there is yet a blood spot on thine arm. See now, I kiss it, damp it is e'en now. So hasty and so rapid was thy flight. I tinge my lips with this the recreant blood of executed Mesant Zoff, and then I kiss the disk of crimson back to thee, my lover. So and so art thou content? Art thou content that freedom's spotless God, having rescued thee the executioner, the carrier out on traitor Mesant Zoff of holy freedom's passionate decree, having delivered by his arm of might, thy soul from thee pursuers now hath given one woman's blossom of unmeasured praise. To thee, the blood-stained doer of the deed, art thou content? Oh, how I love thee, sweet, now that thou art not white, but stained in red. Yea, be thou red, forever red, and I will be thy whiteness, thine unstained, pure flesh, thy spotless body when before the throne of God we answer for today's high deed. And Messenzoff, where is his spirit now? Dead with the dead souls, crowned amid the kings, whose burning, restless, treacherous, strange eyes are the eternal torches that illume their own eternal torments in the hell, whereto betrayers of their country plunge, when at the dagger's mandate, as today, the sacred dagger spoke, the wide earth gapes, laughing to let them through, and down they speed, with groans of women tortured and of men downtrodden for their clamorous charioteers. There is Messenzoff. Man, sweetheart, where are we? In imminent danger of our lives, but yet in heaven, in the thick of paradise, right in its very central sweetest bower, husband and wife beneath the smile of God. That blood spot is our ruby wedding ring, and the pursuers are the priests who clinch the august and swift, impetuous ceremony. A murderer they'll call thee, even now. I seem in thought, or is it in very deed, to hear their hoarse and sanguine-throated shouts. Murderer, I kiss thee, kiss me, murderer, and mingle souls thus through the fierce close lips. Make much of me. The morning over soon will come, the grey and lurid morn of doom, perhaps. Oh, make the most of me tonight. I give thee all I promised, do I not? Am I not true? Am I not faithful wife? Am I not pure and faithful helpmate dear, giving thee all the chaste fit fruit of love? Oh, I am but a woman after all, and I would live, yea, I would live with thee, in some sweet island in the sunny west, or in the sunnier east. I would not die. I would bear children unto thee, my love, would know the rapture of a quiet home, the tender, pure, divine domestic joys that other women know and then despise. Heed not, contemn, think little of. Oh, ne'er before this did I dream how sweet a thing might love in all its simple issues be. Love I despised, or held it as a crown, that only in the life beyond the grave should be upon my patient forehead worn. But now I love love, thou hast taught me this. Love on forever, let our joy prevail, through sunrise and throughout another day, and night, and through the sweet eternity. O love, man, hero, would that in the world, yea, in the starry universe of God, there were no other blossom than thy mouth, and that forever I might gather that, and fill my soul forever with the bloom and passionate fragrance of that endless flower. Ah, I am tender with thee now, and with myself. I would not die, I would escape, fly with thee somewhere, be thy happy bride. Can we not shun pursuit, and ere the morn be far upon some sweet untrodden way, some road to France or England, happier lands, where freedom needs not, as in this our home, to sit with armed hands and watchful head? Yet I would stay with thee forever here, live here, die here, pass from our glory here to paradise. I know not what I wish. I only know that perfect love is sweet, and that thou art my perfect flower of joy, my king, my gold-haired lover, my delight. Play with my hair, it is a girl's for thee, untouched, unhandled, as my body was, for thee a maiden's 2 short hours ago, is now a woman's and a wife's indeed. Cling close, I'll be thy mother now, and hold thee, the boy murderer, in my safe, strong arms, empty too long of any gift to hold. Hector, Andromache, I'll be to thee, sweet mother, sister, father, all in one, and wife as well, and even more than wife. I'll be to thee the sweet republic bride, the chainless advent of the kiss of God. Ah, weary hath my life been, never yet have I beheld the flower of love to press close to my bosom thus. Now thee I press, close, close, and kiss thee with the fervor poured into my lips by lonely lifelong pain. Thou hast done thy deed, and I do my deed. Fulfill my promise, virgin, holy, white. I give myself, a flower of fire, to thee. Our strong republic's gathered ardor now burns through my veins. I am no more a girl, woman no more, a human being no more, but one wild, measureless, surpassing flame, a princess of the royal blood of God. And as that princess I reward thee, sweet, falling from heaven like some superb white star, to crown thy crime, thy murder, thy divine dagger that smote the tyrant to the dust. Bring near that dagger, we may need it yet. Yes, place it underneath the pillow, so. Nay, let me kiss it first, now place it there. Who knows, we too may need it ere the morn. Now turn so, turn half round. A mother must make her child comfortable in his sleep. Sleep shall we, or shall we watch out the night? Or wilt thou sleep, and shall I, star-like, watch? Or wilt thou be the star with that gold hair, and shall I be the night with deep black locks, shrouding the star in soft sweet blackness poured about it? Or shall we, like children, sleep, one short glad sleep, then face what fate may bring? Ah, let us both sleep. Let me, wife, for once, sleep on God's earth one simple wedded sleep, and in thine husbandly protecting arms forget e'en the republic for a while. How long have we slept? See, the light begins to glimmer at the dawning window pane. Now once again we are republicans. The crimson morning is our blood-red sash. Love, let us twine the dawn across our breasts, and fearless face the morrow. Oh, I am proud, proud, eager, dauntless, shameless, womanly, more sweetly virginal than ever yet in all my maiden lifetime I have been. Shall women cry, shame on me? I will cry, foul shame on them who in their ignorance have known not love or freedom. Yea, I'll face the angels seeking flowers wherewith to adorn God's heavenly dwelling house, and I will fling towards them my ringless and unwedded hand, crying, here is a lily, take it, you will find no lily in the fields of God, sweeter, no blossom purer, bear it up, and let God smiling wear it next his heart. Now, ere the dawn is on us, kiss once more, one last embrace. Oh, am I not a queen, the queen of Russia and the queen of heaven, and queen of the republic and of love? Cannot a queen kiss? Are my lips not royal? Oh, fear me not, shrink not, but let me pass, like some swift fire across thy lips and face, burning them into death and into life, beyond all death and all that death can do. Oh, but a few short, wondrous hours ago, thou wast in flight, pursued by vengeful men, the natural avengers of thy deed, whom we can pity, whom we do not blame. They know not what they do, but now thou art, warm, safe, impalaced in a woman's arms. Like all God's contrasts, sudden and divine, the breathless, marvelous change is, swift as if, upon some bitter, bleak December day, with white snow beating at the frozen roofs, sweet summer and the scent of roses came in at the window suddenly, and the sun flamed suddenly as in August, and the sky gleamed suddenly as in June, one sheet of blue. I am thy sun, thy summer, thy blue sky, thy fragrant tender rose, God gives in me the first divine, most excellent, soft glimpse of heavenly summer and of heavenly flowers. Love, taste my lips, is that a royal kiss? In that, in that, in that, am I not sweet? Am I not sweet for thee, pleasant to thee? Am I not sweet to sight and touch and taste, soft to thine handling, tender to thy grasp? Am I not sweet all over, just one bed of summer-sown intoxicating flowers? See how I humble and abase myself, just out of very royal utter love, because thou art so noble and a king, a murderer and a republican, making myself a captive unto thee, a slave, whom thou mayst do with as thou wilt, use as thou wilt, and yet a royal queen, royal and republican and all divine, free even in the midst of thine embrace. And now the last kiss, dost thou love me, love? Am I not splendid? Am I not pure white, unflecked, unflawed, marble from head to foot? I am, thou sayest, and since thou art so red with that bright deed, thou art pure white too, equal with me, my partner and my crown. Oh, one white, splendid, yearning, trembling dear, delicious, delicate, untouched, divine, most amorous, fervid, pure, impassioned flower, I cast myself with all my fiery hair, soft, terrible, upon thee, and I show, in these my lips that burn thy pale lips through, the power of the Republic, who deputes me, its sacred woman messenger, to kiss the approval of today's bold deed into thy very spirit, and to show how after death comes life, and after life, voices are heard outside. The murderer of Mesant Zoff is here. She gives him the dagger, first kissing it gently. Kill me and kill thyself, 'tis better so. The police break into the apartment. Both dead, both gone with Mesant Zoff today, along the same cold road. See how she clings, being in her death, bride-like about his neck, and how her black hair covers all his face. Leave them and send for women, little enough these murderer-lover mad Republicans have left for us, the avenging hands, to do. December 16, 1878. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Return of Summer by Mary Noel MacDonald. Read for LibriVox.org by Larry Wilson. I turned from all she brought to all she could not bring. Childe Harold. Sweet summer, glorious summer, thy footsteps once again are on the green delighted earth, and o'er the sounding main. Thy light is on the wilderness, thy glory in the sky, and thy richly varied melodies are ever floating by. And out upon the ocean go the ships all bounding free, with thy gales to bear them onward o'er the bright rejoicing sea. There are voices, many voices, that ever wake with thee, the laughter of the mountain streams, the music of the bee, the humming of bright insect wings amid the leafy trees, and the softly breathing whispers of the perfume-laden breeze, and the merry, merry measures of the feathered songsters gay, in the meadows and the woodlands far away, far away. Thou art roving on the mountains, and thy voice is in the dells, by the sheen of silvery fountains where the water spirit dwells, where the wild flowers sweet are blushing in many a quiet nook, and the starry moss lies gleaming by the softly singing brook. And gemmed with diamond dewdrops the garden blossoms stand, in their robes of grace and beauty o'er all the pleasant land. Thou art roving on the mountains, but the pent-up city child, amid his toil and weariness, with thee hath seldom smiled. He dreameth of thy greenwood shades, where 'neath its roof of leaves the summer bird, more blessed than he, its airy fabric weaves. He dreameth of thy solitudes, and haply sighs to be but for 1 hour, one blessed hour on the breezy hills with thee. Sweet summer, joyous summer, unto every living thing thou art bearing light and gladness on thy richly freighted wing. Thy gifts of bloom are round me, and fair thine azure skies. Yet to me thou bringest, O summer fair, but tender memories. Loved voices, whose sweet music a spell around me cast. Sweet summer, glorious summer, bring me back the past, the past. I am musing on the brightness that has faded from my view, and hopes which soared like bright-winged birds in skies forever blue. For clouds have dimmed my vision, and sadness filled mine eye. And vainly, oh, how vainly do thy golden moments fly, and in thy sunny gladness I can bear no willing part. Oh, give me back, thou joyous time, the summer of my heart. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Shadow of a Flower by Felicia Hemans, read for LibriVox.org by E.H. Blackmore. 'Twas a dream of olden days that art by some strange power the visionary form could raise from the ashes of a flower, that a shadow of the rose, by its own meek beauty bowed, might slowly leaf by leaf unclose like pictures in a cloud, or the hyacinth to grace as a second rainbow spring, of summer's path a dreary trace, a fair yet mournful thing, for the glory of the bloom that a flush around it shed, and the soul within, the rich perfume, where were they? Fled, all fled. Naught but the dim faint line to speak of vanished hours. Memory, what are joys of thine? Shadows of buried flowers. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Silver Lining by Oliver Herford. Read for LibriVox.org by Kevin D. in 2026, Calgary, Alberta, Canada. The Silver Lining. When poets sing of lovers' woes, and blighted lives and throbs and throes, and yearnings goodness only knows, it's all a pose. I am a poet too, you know. I too was young once long ago, and wrote such stuff myself, and so I ought to know. I too found refuge from despair in sonnets to Amanda's fair white brow, or Nell's complexion rare, or Titian hair. Which, when she scorned, did I resign to flames and go into decline? Not much, when sonnets fetched per line enough to dine. So, reader, when you read in print a poet's woe, beware and stint your tears, and take this gentle hint, it is his mint. When Julia's fair as flowery mead, or when she makes his heartstrings bleed, know then she's furnishing his feed, or fragrant weed. And even as you read, who knows, like cannibal that eats his foes, he dines off Julia's heart that froze, or cheek of rose. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Solitude by George Gordon, Lord Byron. Read for LibriVox.org by Phil Schempf. To sit on rocks, to muse o'er flood and fell, to slowly trace the forest's shady scene, where things that own not man's dominion dwell, and mortal foot hath ne'er or rarely been to climb the trackless mountain all unseen, with the wild flock that never needs a fold, alone o'er steeps and foaming falls to lean. This is not solitude, 'tis but to hold converse with nature's charms, and view her stores unrolled. But midst the crowd, the hum, the shock of men, to hear, to see, to feel, and to possess, and roam along, the world's tired denizen, with none who bless us, none whom we can bless, minions of splendor shrinking from distress, none that with kindred consciousness endued, if we were not, would seem to smile the less of all that flattered, followed, sought, and sued. This is to be alone. This is solitude. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
A Song of Success by Robert W. Service. Read for LibriVox.org by Bruce Kachuk. Oh, we were strong, we were swift, we were brave. Youth was a challenge, and life was a fight. All that was best in us gladly we gave, sprang from the rally, and leapt for the height. Smiling is love in a foam of spring flowers. Harden our hearts to him, on let us press. Oh, what a triumph and pride shall be ours! See where it beacons, the star of success. Cares seem to crowd on us, so much to do, new fields to conquer, and time's on the wing. Gray hairs are showing, a wrinkle or two. Somehow our footstep is losing its spring. Pleasure's forsaken us, love ceased to smile. Youth has been funeraled, age travels fast. Sometimes we wonder, is it worth while? There we have gained to the summit at last. Aye, we have triumphed, now must we haste, revel in victory. Why, what is wrong? Life's choicest vintage is flat to the taste. Are we too late? Have we labored too long? Wealth, power, fame we hold, ah, but the truth. Would we not give this vain glory of ours for one mad glad year of glorious youth? Life in the springtide and love in the flowers. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
To Mother Nature by Frederick Lawrence Knowles. Read for LibriVox.org by Ike Sherr. Nature, in thy largest grant I may be thy confidant. Taste to will life's roadside cheer, though my heart doth hold it dear, song and wine and trees and grass, all the joys that flash and pass. I must put within my prayer gifts more intimate and rare. Show me how dry branches throw such blue shadows on the snow. Tell me how the wind can fare on his unseen feet of air. Show me how the spider's loom weaves the fabric from her womb. Lead me to those brooks of morn where a woman's laugh is born. Let me taste the sap that flows through the blushes of a rose, yea, and drain the blood which runs from the heart of dying suns. Teach me how the butterfly guessed at immortality. Let me follow up the track of love's deathless zodiac, where joy climbs among the spheres, circled by her moon of tears. Tell me how, when I forget all the schools have taught me, yet I recall each trivial thing in a golden far-off spring. Give me whispered hints how I may instruct my heart to fly, where the baffling vision gleams till I overtake my dreams, and the impossible be done when the wish and deed Crow 1. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
To My Young Lady, Lucy Sidney, by Edmund Waller, read for LibriVox.org by PaulClayton. Why came I so untimely forth into a world which, wanting thee, could entertain us with no worth or shadow of felicity, that time should me so far remove from that which I was born to love? Yet, fairest blossom, do not slight that age which you may know so soon. The rosy morn resigns her light and milder glory to the noon. And then what wonder shall you do, whose dawning beauty warms us so? Hope waits upon the flowery prime, and summer, though it be less gay, yet is not looked on as a time of declination or decay. For with a full hand that does bring all that was promised by the spring. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Verses occasioned by an etc. at the end of Mr. Durfee's name in the title to one of his plays. This accident happened by Mr. Durfee's having made a flourish there, which the printer mistook for an etc. By Alexander Pope, read for LibriVox.org by E.H. Blackmore. Jove called before him t'other day the vowels U, O, I, E, A, all diphthongs and all consonants, either of England or of France, and all that were or wished to be ranked in the name of Tom Durfee. Fierce in this cause the letters spoke all, liquids grew rough, and mutes turned vocal. Those 4 proud syllables alone were silent, which by fate's decree chimed in so smoothly one by one to the sweet name of Tom Durfee. N, by whom names subsist, declared to have no place in this was hard, and Q maintained 'twas but his due still to keep company with you, so hoped to stand no less than he in the great name of Tom Durfee. E showed a comma ne'er could claim a place in any British name, yet making here a perfect botch, thrusts your poor vowel from his notch. Hiatus mi valte deflendus, from which good Jupiter defend us. Sooner I'd quit my part in thee than be no part in Tom Durfee. P protested, puffed, and swore he'd not be used so like a beast. He was a piece of emperor, and made up half a pope at least. C vowed he'd frankly have released his double share in Caesar Caius, for only one in Tom Durfius. I, consonant and vowel too, to Jupiter did humbly sue, that of his grace he would proclaim Durfius his true Latin name. For though without them both 'twas clear, himself could ne'er be Jupiter, yet they'd resign that post so high to be the genitive Durfi. B and L swore blood and wounds. X and Z cried pox and zoons. G swore, begad, it ne'er should be. And W would not lose, not he, an English letters property in the great name of Tom Durfee. In short, the rest were all in fray, from criss-cross to et cetera. They, though but standers by too, muttered, diphthongs and triphthongs, swore and stuttered, that none had so much right to be part of the name of stuttering T, to Tom Mayaster Durfer Fee. Then Jove thus spake. With care and pain we formed this name, renowned in rhyme. Not thine immortal nerf germain cost studious Kabbalists more time. Yet now as then, you all declare, far hence to Egypt you'll repair, and turn strange hieroglyphics there, rather than letters longer be, unless in the name of Tom Durfee. Were you all pleased, yet what I pray to foreign letters could I say? What if the Hebrew next should aim to turn quite backward Durfee's name? Should the Greek quarrel too, by Stixi could ne'er bring in Psi and Ixi, Omicron and Omega from us would each hope to be O in Thomas, and all the ambitious vowels vie, no less than Pythagoric Y, to have a place in Tom Durfee. Then, well-beloved and trusty letters, consonants and vowels, much their betters, we, willing to repair this breach, and all that in us lies, please each, etc. to our aid must call, etc. represents ye all, etc. therefore we decree, henceforth forever joined shall be to the great name of Tom Durfee. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
We Are Seven by William Wordsworth, read for LibriVox.org by David Freisener. A simple child, dear brother Jim, that lightly draws its breath, and feels its life in every limb, what should it know of death? I met a little cottage girl, she was 8 years old, she said. Her hair was thick with many a curl that clustered round her head. She had a rustic woodland air, and she was wildly clad. Her eyes were fair and very fair, her beauty made me glad. Sisters and brothers, little maid, how many may you be? How many? 7 in all, she said, and wondering looked at me. And where are they, I pray you tell? She answered, 7 are we, and 2 of us in Conway dwell, and 2 are gone to sea. 2 of us in the churchyard lie, my sister and my brother, and in the churchyard cottage I dwell near them with my mother. You say that 2 at Conway dwell, and 2 are gone to sea, yet you are 7. I pray you tell, sweet maid, how this may be. Then did the little maid reply, 7 boys and girls are we, 2 of us in the churchyard lie, beneath the churchyard tree. You run about, my little maid, your limbs they are alive. If 2 are in the churchyard laid, then ye are only 5. Their graves are green, they may be seen, the little maid replied. 12 steps or more from my mother's door, and they are side by side. My stockings there I often knit, my kerchief there I hem, and there upon the ground I sit and sing to them. And often after sunset, sir, when it is light and fair, I take my little porringer and eat my supper there. The first that died was little Jane. In bed she moaning lay, till God released her of her pain, and then she went away. So in the churchyard she was laid, and all the summer dry, together round her grave we played, my brother John and I. And when the ground was white with snow, and I could run and slide, my brother John was forced to go, and he lies by her side. How many are you then, said I, if they 2 are in heaven? The little maid did reply, O master, we are 7. But they are dead, those 2 are dead, their spirits are in heaven. 'Twas throwing words away, for still the little maid would have her will, and said, Nay, we are 7. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Whatever is best, by Ella Wheeler Wilcox. Read for LibriVox.org by Theo Douglas. Seattle, Washington, June 2026. I know, as my life grows older, and mine eyes have clearer sight, that under each rank wrong, somewhere, there lies the root of right. That each sorrow has its purpose, by the sorrowing oft unguessed, but as sure as the sun brings morning, whatever is best. I know that each sinful action, as sure as the night brings shade, is somewhere, sometime punished, though the hour be long delayed. I know that the soul is aided sometimes by the heart's unrest, and to grow means often to suffer, but whatever is best. I know there are no errors in the great eternal plan, and all things work together for the final good of man. And I know when my soul speeds onward in its grand eternal quest, I shall say as I look back earthward, whatever is best. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
What is home without a mother? By Alice Hawthorne. Read for LibriVox.org by mleigh. What is home without a mother? What are all the loving joys we meet, when her loving smile no longer greets the coming of our feet? The days seem long, the nights seem drear, and time rolls slowly on, and oh, how few are childhood's pleasures when her gentle care is gone. Things we prize are first to vanish, hearts we love to pass away, and how soon, in our childhood, we behold her turning gray. Her eye grows dim, her step is slow, her joys of earth are past, and sometimes ere we learn to know her, she hath breathed on earth her last. Older hearts may have their sorrows, griefs that quickly die away, but a mother lost in childhood grieves the heart from day to day. We miss her kind, her willing hand, her fond and honest care, and oh, how dark is life around us. What is home without her care? End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.